everyone, and welcome to WTF What's the Frequency, where we discuss how life's frequencies can enable you to live a life of success and joy, how your thoughts, your emotions, and actions really can shape your future, and how if you shape your life with positivity and gratitude, you really can change the trajectory of it. But here's the thing. I'm a quantum healer, and a lot of people think that I'm a bit woo woo. But quantum now is part of everyday conversation. Quantum science and quantum physics are being embraced by everybody. So it's time to really perhaps open your mind and shed those sort of thoughts of woo woo and just be open to other things that are out there, like vibrational frequencies and the quantum realm. So, one of the things people say to me quite regularly are, it's all right being positive, it's all right being full of gratitude, but what about if you have a really hard start in life? How do you get from living on the streets, being in a gang, for instance, to being ultimately successful? I mean, how do you do it when you're bereft of all life's advantages, where you just haven't even got the basics and it's really difficult to survive? It's impossible, they say. Or is it? My guest today needs no introduction. He is a champion in the ping pong world, an international star, in fact. And I'd like you to join me as we explore Wally Green's incredible story. Get ready for an exhilarating conversation about unseen forces and the frequencies that underpin his success. Welcome to What's the Frequency? Wally Green. Hello, Wally.
Oh,
Welcome to the show. How are you?
oh, I'm good. I'm good. Great to be
Well,
here.
well, it's such a pleasure to have you here, I can't say, because your story is utterly incredible. And I really wanted for you to come on and talk about this to really inspire people that are having a tough time at the moment. Because I see people constantly that are having a really tough time with anxiety and depression, and I shift them into joy and happiness. But you've done exactly that without the help of anybody like me by just using your positive mindset. So I want to dive straight in and ask you, you know, you had a narcissistic father, you got sent away, sorry, stepfather, you got sent away to boarding school in Africa, you were bullied horrifically, and on your return you had a family bust up which led you to living on the streets and being part of a gang. So what was the turning point that changed your life and put it in a direction? Can you tell us about how that happened and why you think it happened? What was your mindset, even in your darkest hour?
Wow. I think the biggest turning point after the bust up and living on the street came through a sport that I actually hated. I actually hated when I was going to school, and it was the sport. It was the sport of ping pong. They had ping pong in my high school. I used to make fun of every kid that played this sport because it was just a kind of weird sport. And I would be on the football team, the basketball team, volleyball team, tennis team, and especially football. When we would walk through the lunchroom, we would see these kids playing ping pong, and I would make fun of them. But that was a turning point, a sport that I actually hated that I got interested in. And the way I got interested in it is kind of weird too. I was shooting pool at the time, and I had this great pool stick, this wonderful, call it the golden pool stick. Um, and I got this pool stick because I had a cheaper one, and I went to the store and switched it out for a more expensive one, and the owner didn't know. So I got away with
So
this great
when
pool
you
stick.
say switched it out, you mean you took your cheap one and when he wasn't looking, you swapped it for a really expensive one. Good
And
hustle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was crazy. And then I thought the pool stick made me good. That's, if you have something such as, something that's high level, it makes you feel like you're at that level. But I wasn't, and I lost some money betting with someone, and I got upset, and I took the pool stick, shattered it onto the pool table, and the pool stick, it just shattered. It broke, and there was my pool stick. I was very upset, and at that time, I used to blame everyone for what happens to me. I used to take it out on everyone else. So let's let this go. It's a fire truck.
Oh, well,
There
we need them to get there quickly and rescue someone, don't
Yes.
we? Bless them, those lovely firemen.
So I used to blame everyone else for things that happened in my life, no matter what it was. So I saw some kids playing ping pong. There was about three ping pong tables, and some kids were playing there. And I just thought that was a great opportunity to be a bully. And I went over there and said, "Hey, I want to get a hit." But I was really angry because I broke my pool stick. And the kid goes, "Do you play this?" And I said, "No, I don't play this sport. Just give me the paddle." And what happened was is when the kid tried to hit the ball to me, my intention was to hit him in the face with the ball, right? And then I could say sorry. So it was like being a bully, but like not letting them know I was really being a bully, just taking out my anger. But what happened was when the kid hit the ball to me, I swung at it to hit him in the face with the ball, and the ball went onto the table. And the kid was like, "Oh my God, that's an amazing shot. You said you don't play." And I was like, "I don't play this." He was like, "Listen, you should go check out this table tennis club." Right. And I was like, "There's no way there's a place where people get together and play this, like for real."
And
And
can I just ask you a
yeah,
question? You mentioned that you played, and I know this for a fact, that you are, if you do something, you're going to be really good at it. So
yeah,
you were really good at football, you were really good at baseball, all of which are quite macho sports, aren't they? They sort of get the girls looking, don't they, if you're good at football and that sort of thing, and
yeah.
great outfits. And so ping pong was seen as a bit, I don't know, silly for weedy guys to play, right?
Right, right, exactly. Ping pong was like for me, it was not really a sport because I didn't know about it. And I thought like, and for me, actually Asians played ping pong. Black people didn't play ping pong. I never saw black.
Interesting.
Yeah, I never saw any black people playing ping pong. So after this kid told me about this club, I was I was like, you know what? Let me go check it out because the athlete in me, because sports was the other half of my life. So the athlete in me said, let's just go see. It was something that was like maybe there is a club, but maybe there isn't. So I go down to this place, I walk into this club, and I see people playing seriously, like making noise, standing far from the table, right? And that's not what impressed me. What impressed me was that every single person that was playing that day was black. And then I was like, wait a minute, black people play this? and and that was I couldn't believe it. I was just shocked, and I was like, wow, okay, wow, I want to play this too because I wanted to play every sport. And now that I saw that black people actually played, that's what got my interest. That's what started the interest in the sport of ping pong.
And having made that connection, did you also feel a great frequency from this game? Like, did it sort of entice you in? Because I find that positive frequencies sort of do that. Or if something is coming up in your path that's going to help you, it has a strange sort of beckoning effect on you. Is that what happened to you? What
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
next?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, seeing people that look like me played, it was almost because I still could have said, I don't want to play this, but it was almost like it was calling me, like, come play ping pong. And because it became an addiction. Actually, like I wanted to be at the ping pong club every day. Like I just had to go. I mean, even now, like I need to play all the time. If a couple of days don't go by and I don't play, then I'm like, I need to play. It's that kind of a sport. uh, you know, put together with, like I said, people that look like me who were playing. It was like it was just calling me to play.
Interesting, interesting. And what was your situation then? You know, where were you in life? Were you living on the street at that stage? And,
Yes,
this was, this would have been a luxury for you to spare time from sort of hustling, really, wouldn't it? To give yourself the luxury of playing sport. But I know from conversations that we've had before that all sports are your great passion.
yes, yes, yes. At this time, I was pretty much like living in the streets. You know, from friend's house to house, and sometimes just hanging out till the next day or next couple of days. And going to this ping pong club was like a release for me, right? Because I got to um, go and see this thing that I was interested in, but no one would play with me. So that was the hard part of it, because no one, people knew that I wasn't good or I couldn't play. And then finally, this older guy would play. There's one old guy that would play with me. He was like 70 years old, and the guy would beat me so badly, and I would get so upset and so angry because I'm an athlete. I play all sports. How can this guy beat me? And that made me want to play even more. That made me want to play a lot more. So I played with this guy for a while, and then, as I mentioned before, I was on the streets. I didn't really have any money. And another guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you have a partner?" And I was like, "I don't." And he goes, "Well, you know, I travel in and out of town, and I would like to have a steady partner, and I can pay you $20 every time we play."
Oh,
And
amazing.
that was like, what? $20? It was almost like the sport wanted to keep me there. So all kinds of things kept happening to keep me in this sport. Because now I think about it, if that guy never came to offer $20, I probably would have just maybe just stopped playing, right? Because that leads to why I started playing, how I started playing pro, how I got great. So if that guy never came and offered me $20 to play with him, I probably would have quit the sport, maybe.
Yeah, but that's very interesting, isn't it? Because when we talk about the quantum realm, we talk about one and one not being two. One and one is one, two, three, because it's moving forward. So in your head, you must have been really focused on being really good at ping pong. And what the universe did was go, look, we know you're having a tough time right now, but here's $20 a match to make your life a bit sweeter and keep you hooked on the sport because we need you. But you were unaware of this at the time. So
Right,
serendipity was knocking on your door because your mindset was that you were just going to be a champion. Is that right?
right, exactly. It was um every sport I ever played, I was, probably the best, and I wanted to be the best at this too. And you know, it it wouldn't let me go. That's the thing. There was always a way that I mean, even this situation, there was a situation where this particular person that was paying me $20 each time we play. I had went to the club, and a weapon fell out of my bag, and he saw it, and I said, "Hey, I have to leave," and I just left. So that would have been the end. In my mind, that was the end of my $20, and that would have probably been the end of me going to play ping pong,
Oh my
right?
goodness. So what happened next? Yeah, it's guns falling out
So,
of your bag. You're really
so
embarrassed. You leg it. And then
well,
what happens?
I wasn't embarrassed. I was worried whether or not he was going to call the police,
Oh,
because
okay.
you gotta remember at this time, I was in a gang, so I was a very hard kid. So I was just worried that he would call the police, and I didn't want no part of it. And ping pong would have been, I think at that point, ping pong would have been over at that point, because
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back there. So in my mind, I thought, okay, my $20 is gone. Uh, this is it. But 2 days later, he calls me and he says, "Hey, are we still playing?" And I'm like, "What?" And it was just kind of weird because he didn't mention any. So this is another thing, which is kind of just for me weird. He never mentioned the weapon that fell out of my bag. He never, ever, ever, not one time. It was almost like it never happened. So he called me. He says, "Hey, are we playing?" And it was 2 days later when we were supposed to play. And I was like, "Okay, all right," because I was thinking about the $20, right? And but he never mentioned it. And I think that's an. I don't know if he did it consciously, or I don't know. I don't know, but like you said, the universe just does some weird, strange things sometimes. And because if he would have mentioned it, if he would have said anything to the effect of like, "Hey, you shouldn't be walking around," I would have never talked to him again. Really, I would have. Anyone who told me about myself, I just ghosted. I would ghost you. So I would have never talked to him again. But he never brought it up, which is
That's
unbelievable.
really interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it? He was probably a bit terrified actually, and terrified to even mention it. But like you say, the universe, it makes somebody a bit frightened, so they don't say something, so the momentum continues. So tell me what happened next. I'm really excited to know.
Yeah. So after we play, and then he says, "Hey, I want to invite you to my home." And I'm like, and that was kind of weird for me too, right? Because you don't invite the kid to your home that just had a weapon fall out of his bag. That it's just not, no, it's like, for me it's just weird. And I was like, okay, because for me it was mostly about the $20. That was the most important thing. The most important thing was to keep having the $20 come in, right? Because that's how I got to eat. That's how I got to, have some little tiny bit of money. So I was like, okay. So, I go to his house with him, and his where he was living, it's pretty far from New York City. It's like 2.5 hours away,
Oh
right?
wow.
Yeah, near Hunter Mountain. But he had an apartment in New York as well. But his family lived there, and so we went there, and they had family. Um, we had dinner, and it was like, people were passing food around, and being nice to each other, and yes, thank you, no thank you, just like, and it was like being in this like,
Was it
I
like
don't even,
a sort of Disney movie because she'd
yeah, it
never
was, no, it was
experienced it
definitely like
before?
it was definitely like a Disney movie, because that was, very family oriented kind of thing that I didn't have. So I was like it was all weird. Like, for me, it was weird. It was just weird. I
No, I can imagine. I can imagine. You're probably not even used to sitting at a table. So,
yeah,
quite frightening in lots of respects. So
right, right,
they were lovely people. You had this
yeah,
fantastic experience of
yes,
just eating at a table and the food being plentiful and everyone being nice and there not being any catches. And
right.
what happened next?
And then we go and we play ping pong, right? Because he has a ping pong pool table, and then I play with his family a little bit, right? And then they all go. I think they had to do something, and then it's just me and him. And he says, "I really want to help you. I have a connection in Germany, and I'm gonna pay for you to go to Germany to learn ping pong." And I was like, "What?
Wow.
Germany?" I mean, the only thing I knew about Germany then was Hitler. So I was like, "Why is this guy trying to send me to Germany? Like, what's going on here?" But I've always been a smart kid. Like, no matter all the crazy stuff I've done in my life, I always been a smart kid, and I knew that I knew it was an opportunity for me to get out of where I was, and so I decided that, yeah, I want to do it.
Oh my goodness, though. But I mean, it must have been quite scary. I can remember the first time I grew up in the country and I took the train to London. It was terrifying. But to think that you're going to go from living on the street to getting a passport, getting on an aeroplane, getting off the other end and walking into an academy that sort of specializes in ping pong. I mean, what were it must have been quite scary. Were there things that nearly held you back? Because I'm guessing the gang was your family in lots of ways.
Yeah. So it wasn't scary. Like those kind of things don't scare me. I've been in like very close to near death situations multiple times. So it's like that kind of stuff. Like it was never scary. Like I was never scared at all. I was thinking, it's just something that I really want to do. Do I want to go to Germany? Right. I think what scared me more was the idea that the only thing I knew about Germany was Hitler. So that was what scared me the most. And I was like, wait, am I trying to go to Germany? Um, but like I said, I knew that it would be an opportunity. And I was always very strong minded. I did things the way I wanted to do them, how I wanted to do them all the time. And I knew that it was something I should do, right? Whether I really wanted to do it or not, I knew that I should do it. And, and in order to do it, I would just have to ghost everyone and just
Wow, that's a
take
big
myself
step,
out of
isn't
the
it?
situation. Yeah, a huge, huge step. Because the problem with that is that, a lot of people that were in my gang are there because of me, right?
Mm,
A lot of things they've done is because of me. And so now I'm saying that I'm just gonna leave and kind of like turn your back on the people that were sort of supporting you, because it's not a
yeah.
real support, right?
No, of course it
I
isn't.
support you because of what you can do for us.
Yeah.
um so that was hard, but I decided that I needed to um that I needed to take me first, and I need to do for myself what was most important, because I knew the road that I was going. It was going to be dead or in jail. I knew
Yeah.
that, and I had an
Yeah.
opportunity to get out. A lot of people wouldn't take the opportunity, because I get a lot of people that say, oh man, you're so lucky that somebody came and they helped you." And I tell them, there's nothing luck about it. 99% of people in my situation at that time would have said, "Are you crazy? I am not going to Germany." Right? So it
But
took,
that's very much a fear-based thing, isn't it? Don't do that, don't leave your neighborhood, don't
yeah,
leave us, we need you, all of
yep,
that. But I have this a lot with my clients, and I say to them, if it no longer serves you, turn away. You don't need to
yes,
make a big fuss, doesn't need to be drama, we don't need to have a fight. But if it no longer serves you, and you know in your heart that it's only going to bring you down, and you've just said that, you'd be dead or in jail. And then the universe offers you an opportunity, you've got to have your eyes wide open and you've got to grab it because you know what the other option is. So you made this journey to Germany, and then what happens? I mean, it was pretty quick, wasn't it? Your rise to
yeah,
success.
yeah.
With your mindset, nothing was really going to set you back, was it?
Yeah. So I go to Germany. Now I'm this kid, violent, angry kid in Germany. Because just because I go to Germany doesn't mean that, like, overnight I was like this good kid. No, I was still the same kid, but now in a different country. And everybody was so interested in me. Like, oh, you're from America. Oh, you're from New York City. Oh, we love New York. We love America. And people were like all in my face all the time and trying to talk. And I was like, what is this? This is because where I'm from, if people are all in your face and being super nice, that means they want something from you.
Yeah.
So it was it was a difficult transition the first month or two because I wasn't used to people genuinely being nice just because of me and not because of what I can do for them. So it took me a little while to adjust, right? You know, I always talk about the little birdie that comes and talks to me. I have a birdie. It goes, you can call it whatever you want, divine intervention, a birdie, or whatever. The same birdie that what we spoke about before that said, if you do this, you're gonna everything your stepfather said will happen to you. Um, this birdie said, "Hey, what's wrong with you? You're not in America. You're not with your narcissistic stepfather. You're not being abused. You're in a totally different country. People love you, not because of what you can do for them, but because you're just you. So, what's wrong with you? Why are you angry?" And once I figured that out, then I was no longer not really. I wouldn't say I was no longer angry, but I was no longer looking to be angry.
And also, can I ask you, was that sort of the point when you started to actually love yourself truly, rather than just drive yourself to be good at everything so that you'd prove your stepfather wrong? You know, that was one of your big drivers. But was that the point that you started to think, actually, I'm all right. People like me,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
like
yeah.
me. They're not after anything. They're just being nice, you know. And I suppose the other thing was I'm safe. You know, nobody's going to pull any sort of
Right,
weapon on me. Nobody's going to beat me up. Everyone seems to want me to do well. It must have been incredibly strange for you.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. It was it was definitely it was strange. But you know, I adjust very quickly, and once I understood that not everyone in the world is out to get you, um, I was able to like flip and and just kind of like, you know, accept the friendships. And I started making friends, and I just started kind of like taking that life and just putting it aside. So I'm very good at doing that. I'm very good at just, you know, taking something and just putting it there and leaving it there and not thinking about it.
Well, I mean, that's amazing because I talk to people all the time about how your past doesn't define you just because it happened to you or just because you lived through that. It's not anything, it's not part of the luggage you're taking with you on your journey forward. You know, we'll leave those duffel bags behind and we'll grab a Louis Vuitton and move forward. You know, it's like, let's have the energy of success and tomorrow's another day. You know, so you're in Germany, you've made loads of friends, you're obviously majoring at the sport. What happens next? How do you get onto the world stage? Because I mean, that's a huge leap, isn't it? From going from training to world stage.
Yeah. So but before we go there, I gotta tell a funny story because it
Oh,
just
please do. Please do.
because you're from the UK, so it's very funny. So like I said before, you know, I only knew my gang life in that circle. I didn't know anything else. So I remember because this just came to my head. It makes me every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. So there was some other foreign athletes, right? Because this school wasn't only ping pong. This was a sports school. So every kid who excelled in sports, who were going to be pro or national team, this is the school they went to. And I
Wow.
remember meeting a girl from Wales. And I remember like her coming up to me to talk to me, and she knew my name, and she called me Wooly. She goes, Wooly. And she had this crazy accent, and I was like, "Hey, what language is that?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" With her accent, I said, "I can't understand what you're saying." And then she said, "It's English." I said, "That's not English. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not English." And then I remember she goes, that is what she said. She said that is the proper English, and the way she said it was so funny. And she became my first. She became my first friend. Was the girl from Wales, and you know that's one of the things that about that trip that was just really funny to me because you know I didn't know there was. different versions of English. You know, I thought I spoke English, and I just wanted to share that story because it's just it's a memory that just makes me laugh all the time. But
I think that's lovely because, we all remember our first true friend, don't we? And
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
generally involves laughing. And, laughing's like one of the the best energy in the world. I spent a weekend with my best friend and we didn't stop laughing from the moment that she put a cup of coffee in front of me till about 2 o'clock in the morning, dragging up all the past and all the things that you've done. And it must be what an amazing journey, because from that friendship, you must have had lots of great experiences, lots of fun, and, you know, all the time training to be the best and surrounded by people that were really focused with a really positive
yes,
mindset. And I think for me, what I'm hearing is that that positive mindset was like an energy force in itself that you could sort of
right,
tap into. So
yes.
tell us tell us what happened next.
Yeah, so you know, I go through the school. You know, I previously met some pro players before this happened. Like shortly before I left, I went to go see a tournament and I met some guys and I started going up to all the famous pros. So picture being at a basketball game and just being able to walk on the floor and just talk to like the players, the pros, the best of the best. And I would go up to them and say, "Hey, are you really number 5 in the world?" And I would just talk to these guys, and they all thought I was crazy. It was like, who's this crazy kid coming up to us? But I got an offer that if I was ever in Germany, to give a call and I could come practice with them. So some of my friends who were on the German team, German national team, uh, I took them I took them up on that offer. After staying there, I went to like a pro team to practice, and I played there. And after that, came back to US and started playing, started doing really well, started winning a lot of events, and it became a passion. And the first break, my first break was I was playing a tournament in Chinatown, and it was just a small tournament, nothing serious. And this is something which can show that sometimes really big things come from very small things, right? It doesn't always have to be something that's huge to get you something huge. It can be something very small. Because this tournament was not a national tournament. It was not even a ranked tournament. It was just a hole in the wall, small tournament that was in Chinatown. And I decided I was going to go play. So I go play this tournament. And there was this Chinese kid who came from China. He was visiting, and he happened to play this tournament. And now me and him were playing. Now, you know, I'm this athlete. You know, my mindset's a little different, but the gangster is still there. The gangster's always there. The gangster, it's always going to be there. You know, there's a saying that you might have heard. You can take the kid out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the kid. It's always going to be there. It's still here, but it's how you control it, right? Now
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I know how to control myself. So I'm playing this kid, and the kid starts making a point, and he starts going, "Chow, chow," making these crazy noises. And I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "What's wrong with this kid, man?" He's like, shouting. And so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do the same thing." So I started to bring the gangster into it. I was like, "That's it, baby. Come on, man, send this kid back." And I'm talking trash, and we're going back and forth. He's shouting in his language, and I'm just talking trash, like trash. And you know, the match is going on, and I wind up winning that match somehow. And I was like, "Yeah, that's it, baby. Who's the king? Who's the king of New York?" I'm talking trash. And somebody comes up to me and says, hey, um, do you know Rockstar Games? And I was like, "Yeah, of course, Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto, one of the most famous games in the world. Yes, of course I know." They goes, "Well, we're looking to make the world's first table tennis game." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yes." I didn't even wait for them to ask me. I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." And so I made this game with Rockstar Games called Rockstar Presents Table Tennis. It's the world's first realistic table tennis game. And I got paid to do the motion capture and stuff like that. And then I thought also, I was like, you know what? Rockstar is a huge company. And I was always good at this. I was always good at looking at the bigger picture. Even when I was doing bad stuff, I always looked at the bigger picture. So I
So let's
always,
let's just pick up on that for a second,
yeah,
because I've had some very interesting people on my shows, and one of them, Greg Becker, said, "Imagine it, and it will come to you. Imagine being it. Imagine doing it, and you create your own future." So you're saying even when you were in a gang, you would always be projecting that your
yes,
life was better all the
yes.
time. I love
I, I,
it, because
I was
this is
always,
proof that it works.
yes. I was always thinking of the bigger picture because, when I talk about the gang stuff and that kind of stuff, there's two kinds of people. There are those who have lost their humanity and those who haven't. The ones who haven't, they still do the bad things, but they know that it's bad and they understand it is bad. And they technically really don't want to do it, but they do it anyway. And the ones who've lost their humanity don't care.
Yeah.
Like they'll do something and still talk to you tomorrow like nothing happened. So I was the latter. I always knew that there was a better way. And I always knew that this is not where I wanted to be. And so with the Rockstar Games, I was like, man, this is a huge company. I want to play pro. For sure, they have to have the money. Let me ask them to sponsor me so that I could play pro. And so, I made this game with them. I traveled a little bit in Japan and different places to promote the game. I became the face of this game. And then I says, hey, you know what? I want to play on the Pro Tour circuit. Can you guys sponsor me? And they was like, yeah, we can, right? Because that would have been part of the promotion of the game. So they paid me a lot of money for 3 years to play ping pong all around the world. So I had done what most people couldn't do in my sport or in any sport for that matter, is get a sponsor to pay someone who's not quite on a pro level yet to play pro.
I
And
love that. I love that, and I love the fact that you say, it's the gangster in you, because you got that was hustling, wasn't it? That was
yes,
seeing an
yes,
opportunity and thinking, "Well, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. I'll just ask." You know, because I always say to people, "Ask the question. It's a 50-50. It's yes or no. But if you
right,
don't ask, you're not gonna get it." So,
right,
again, your action created your future that allowed even more success into your life. I'm loving this, because people say to me all the time, "Oh, everything's against me," and it's people like you that are able to show people that it doesn't matter if everything's against you.
yep,
You can change things. So, what happened next, Wally? Because this is like this should be an epic movie. It's
yes.
fantastic.
So then, now I'm playing all over the world. I'm like playing all over the world now. I'm in every major country in the world playing. But you know, there were so many obstacles. First of all, being a black kid who was very ghetto, playing ping pong, wasn't the ideal ping pong athlete. Like I stood out like a sore thumb, right? There was no one in the world that played this sport that was like me, not one person. And a lot of times I went through a lot of mental stuff in terms of like some people would say, why are you playing this sport? Right?
Really?
Yeah, because I should be playing basketball or rapping. I've
Ugh,
had people say to me, why are you playing sport? Because what would happen is you gotta remember in the beginning, I would lose so badly all the time. So I would travel from America to China and lose badly, right? So, in table tennis, you usually play 4 games, right? Each game is 11 points, and you play 4 out of 7. Sometimes I didn't get 5 points in 4 games.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
goodness, but you didn't give up. You didn't give up. You just kept
yes,
going.
so I'll tell you why. So, this was happening over and over and over and over and over. And it wasn't that I didn't have the skill. I had some skill because I was training every single day. I may have not had the same skill everyone else had, but I did have skill. And what I had to do was I had to go through a mindset change. The problem is that I thought I was this super great athlete, which I was. And I thought because I was this super great athlete, I would be super great at this as well. And that I could beat everyone and that I'm going to be the world champion. And sometimes I think we kind of put too much pressure on ourselves for something that is possibly obtainable, but maybe not. It's like a kid saying, you know what? I'm going to be in the NBA. What is the odds of that really happening? It's very low, right? But can you do it? You can. And how do you do it? You have to take small steps to get there. You can't say, yeah, I'm going to go in the NBA and I'm going to dunk on everybody. No, it doesn't work like that. So my mindset, because I thought I was this great athlete, was not allowing me to learn and not allowing me to understand why I was losing so badly, because it was bad. It was, and that's why people would ask me, "Why are you playing the sport?" Like and I came up with this idea. I said, you know what? All right, I have to fix this because first of all, this is embarrassing. Second of all, it's starting not to be. It's starting not to be fun, right? When people starting to look down on you, it's not fun. And plus, you already stand out, so it's very easy for everyone to look down on you, right? You
And
don't.
it's really easy when that keeps happening to go into
Yeah.
victim mode. Oh, poor me, it's because I'm
Yes.
different, it's because of this, it's because of that. And you didn't let that happen.
No.
So, what were these baby steps that you took?
So what I did is I came up with a plan. I came up with a plan, and I said, "This is what we're gonna do." I said, "We're not gonna try to beat everyone because we can't beat everyone." So the first step was actually acknowledging that what I was thinking was literally crazy, and I had to reset, go back, think smaller. And so I said, you know what? Instead of me trying to beat this guy who's been playing this, because when you think like that, that's me saying that I don't respect you. You've been playing this sport since you were 3, and here I am just gonna come on the scene at 17 and beat you. That's lack of respect for the sport, lack of respect for the player. So what I said is I just need to get 5 points. Let me get 5 points in one game, not even 4, one game. And if I get 5 points in one game, I'm the world champion, right? And I condition my brain to believe it. So I would I would play this match, right? And I'd get 5 points in one game, and I'll go, yeah, that's it. Happy people, listen, everyone thought I was crazy. They'd be like, what's wrong with this guy? He just lost 4-0. 4-0. But one of the most important things about making these smaller goals is actually being able to celebrate them. Like you have to celebrate, even if it's just a small goal, you have to celebrate. So that was my celebration. And when I celebrate, I felt happy. I truly felt like I was the world champion because I understood where my place was, right? These guys are great. I'm just trying to get there. So if I can get 5 points, I'm great too. And I conditioned my brain to believe this. And then I said, okay, now we have to get 5 points every game. If we get 5 points every game, we're the world champion. And guess what? I was able to get 5 points every game. Then I would say, okay, just one game, one game. You're the world champion. And let me tell you, the day I got one game, it was like I won the Olympics.
Oh, but what you're talking about here is the frequency of gratitude, isn't it?
Yes,
Being
yes.
grateful that you've
Being
got a
great.
point or 5
Yes.
points or you've won a game. Even
Yep.
though, you want to be the world champion, but also getting your ego in check and going, hang on, unless you put in the hours like these guys have, you are
Right.
not going to be that back. So back in your box, ego. Let's be humble, set
Yes.
small goals and make it happen. I mean, this is what I talk to people about all the time. So obviously, you really upped your game and upped your game and upped your
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Because at this point now, I was actually learning why I was losing. When you think you know everything, you can't learn anything, right? And now I was like,
Very
okay,
true.
I understand. Okay, focus 1 point at a time, 1 point at a time. And then I started being able to actually win some, right? And it was it was a great mindset um, for me to learn, but not only for table tennis, but for life in general, right? Um, we take these small steps to get to the bigger goal, right? And through the journey, we celebrate each time. And that gives us motivation, inspiration to get to that next step. So at that point, I was learning, life values on the table on the table tennis table.
It's funny, isn't it, how sports does that to you. I was a gymnast in my youth, and it does, you have to there's nothing like doing a triple somersault and nearly breaking your neck to make you realise that you haven't quite mastered it yet. So, when you finally got to becoming a champion, how did it feel? Did it feel amazing? Was it enough? Or did you think, this is great, but what can I do next?
Well, check this out. So there's a twist in the plot. So
Love it.
of course, I never became a world champion, right? Because no one can beat China. It's no chance, right? Um, I became the most popular player on the tour, and I, during this whole process of me playing, remember I stood out. I had bleached hair with designs in it. I was very hip hopish, and I had to find my place in this sport, right? Because I couldn't become number one. And I knew, and once, I figured it out, I couldn't. So what could I do? How could I stand out? You know, what could be my thing in this sport? And then I realized that there was no one like me in this sport. There was no one with my character. There was no one with my flair. I brought the fashion to the sport. I brought this grit that this sport did not have from anyone. And I noticed people were respecting me. The like good players, the big players. We're talking about, like, if Michael Jordan would respect this high school kid who just came into the league. People were respecting me, and they weren't respecting me because I was this great player like them. They respected me because I was cool, right? I brought something different to the sport. And I started to realize that when I would travel to different countries, especially China. So I'll tell you a story about China. So I'm in China playing, and they have what they call the TV table, right? And this table is designated for live TV. Every player wants to be on the TV table, right? I don't want to be on a TV table, right? Because I don't want to get beaten on a TV table. I rather
Oh, I
be
like
on
it.
another
Everybody
table.
else wants the fame. You're worried about being
Yeah,
beaten. I love
I'm like
it.
trying not to be on the TV table. And I noticed that every time I went to China, all my matches would be on a TV table, which is crazy because in the preliminary rounds, it's almost impossible you get a TV table. It's impossible. It's impossible. But every match of mine is on the TV table. And so one day I went to the to hold on a second. Aiden, quiet. One day, one day I went to the organizers and I said, hey, can you please take me off the TV table and put me on another table? And then the organizer says, why? I said, because I just don't want to be on the TV table. And the organizer says, no, no, Mr. Green, you are great for TV. And I was like, what? But then at that point, I understood. I was like, man, you know what? You don't have to be the best in the world, man. You just be yourself. And
Yeah.
that's what people like. And that's what people want. They want your authenticity, right? They want your coolness. They want your swag. They want what you bring to the sport that this sport doesn't have. And so once I figured that out, oh man, now playing became a lot more fun because I wasn't focused on trying to win anymore. I was focused on having fun. I was focusing on that highlight reel shot, that one shot that you make, everybody goes, oh my God, you see that? It doesn't matter if you lost 4-0. They're talking about that one shot you made. That was me. I became an entertainer of the sport. I
And
focused
I
more on, yeah.
and also I wanted to ask you, when you really step into just enjoying something, not worrying about being the best, it's a really good energy. And I bet you
Yes,
that's when the money showed up, wasn't it? It's like, oh,
yes,
please wear our trainers and we'll pay you millions of pounds to do that. Please wear our t-shirts and our baseball caps. It must have just been, oh my God, this is the best hustle ever, right? I mean, I'm
yes,
from South
yes,
London, so I get the hustle. I would
yeah,
have just thought, manna from heaven, this is the easiest job in the world.
yes. Because in the beginning I was always angry. Right now I would lose, and you see me smiling and happy. And then I noticed something else, which was even crazier. So normally the winner gets the interview. That's how it works. But I was losing, and I was getting the interview. And people were like, "What's going on?" One time, I remember one time, and this always, and this always just it makes me laugh because I always they did certain things and through the journey, and they're little small things, they're not really that big, but they're things that just make me laugh, and I remember these things, I never forget them. One time, I was sitting next to because now I became friends with everybody. Everybody knew me, the crazy guy from New York. I was the crazy guy from New York because every time I played, I was very loud. I made a point. I was like, "Yo, let's go!" The energy where people were like, "Oh my god." I mean, I almost beat a kid from China with my energy, not with my
Wow.
skill, with my energy. I lost 4-2, 11-9 in the six, which is crazy for an
That is,
American to do against Chinese. Yes, with my
yeah.
energy. And I remember one time I was in Croatia, and I'm sitting with the world number maybe 3 or 2 at the time. He could have been 1 at the time. And we're sitting, we're just hanging out. And these kids they're running, because what the kids do is they run to where the pros are sitting to get the autographs. So you see the kids running, they're all running, running, running. And we're all thinking that they're going to this guy who's like world number 2. They all ran to me. All of them ran to me, and everyone just started laughing.
He
People,
must have
it,
been gutted.
people were laughing. It was just so funny that they came to me. Right, I wasn't even world ranked. Right, and everyone came to me because it was the energy, it was the character that I was that was so different that they liked. So everywhere we go, these kids would just come and have me sign autographs for them, and it was it was such a great feeling, right, to be able
That's
to.
the power that's the power of attraction, isn't it? That
Yes,
your energy is shining out and people want part of that. A lot of people want things that they can get from you when you're
right,
famous, but the most important thing is they want some of that energy. They want some of that shine that you've developed that just oozes out of you when you are doing something you love, that's your passion, and really enjoying it. And I love the fact that you say quite regularly, "Oh, this really made me laugh."
yeah,
Listen, I can't believe it, but we've nearly come to the end of our hour. Would you come back and talk to us again? I know you've got the
for sure.
imminent new arrival in your family, so you're going to be tied up for quite a long time and not having any sleep. But I've enjoyed this conversation so much because all the time you've been talking about how your mindset, how your focus drove you forward. And if anybody is an exemplar of how you really can create your destiny, your future, you are it. Can I just ask you to give us 3 things that you live by, that you believe allow you to continue to be successful so that we can take them on board and maybe some of your energetic shine will rub off on us?
I think the first one is authenticity. Being authentic, being yourself, no matter where, no matter with who. I'm always myself. What you see is what you get. It doesn't change. Like you see me today, I'm the same person tomorrow, right? I think that's really important. The second thing is having I call it the never say die attitude. For me, that is one of the biggest keys for success. Just being able to get through it no matter what. I've just it's it's one of my most important things is the never say die attitude. Like I just keep pushing no matter what. And I think the third one is a really important one. And there's two sides of the third one. And this goes, I think, for the younger generation as well. and this is actually, I actually gear this towards the younger generation. Um, if you need help, don't be afraid to ask. And more importantly, this is the most important, if someone offers you help, don't be afraid to take it. Because if I didn't take the help from that guy, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. So those are my three things. I think that I really like.
Holly, I can't thank you enough. And these were amazing words of wisdom that I'm sure everybody watching and listening, can take on board because they're simple things, really. But you are such an inspiration. It's been such a wonderful conversation. I can't thank you enough. And where can we find you if people want a bit more of Wally Green?
Um, I guess Instagram, Wally Green NYC on Instagram is a good place to find me. And if you want some uh just crazy ping pong fun, then on my TikTok, which is Wally Green NYC official.
That's amazing. Well, everybody, make sure you follow Wally. Yeah, I've looked at his Instagram. I follow him. There's always amazing things that he's posting, so don't miss out. Anyway, I can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for tuning. And make sure that you get your diary set for every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, when you can join us for amazing conversations on What's the Frequency.